Good morning. This morning, I'm going to help you make more money. When it comes to making money, there are two rules that I live by. Lucky for me, I learned them both when I was only 12 years old. So I suppose I was like any red-blooded 12-year-old boy. I dreamed of one day owning a Ferrari. So I didn't deck my bedroom walls with posters of movies or celebrities or athletes or outer space. I had 4 Ferrari posters, all cherry red, hanging on my walls. So one day after school, I walked into my house to see my dad's mentor, a business partner and his former college football coach, sitting at the kitchen table with my father. Coach had seen my small shrine to the red beauty in my room and asked when I walked in, "A Ferrari, huh? Have you figured out how you're going to get one?" No, I replied with 12-year-old feigned disinterest. "Well, you better get to work if you want one of those bad boys." I explained that I was working. I mowed a couple of lawns on the street, picked up straggling nails at the local construction site for a penny apiece. "Well, how much are you earning a week?" Coach asked. $25, I responded, kind of bragging. Coach let out a guffaw. "At that rate, you'll be a corpse behind the wheel. You need to make more money and faster." "But how?" I asked. The next sentence is money-making rule number 1. Coach leaned across the table and said in a tone that signaled this was going to be important. "Want to make money faster? Find something scary to do. Find something most don't have the courage to do. Scary things pay the most." As I lay on my bed that night, I remembered a buddy talking about a local trade school who wanted people to stand outside bus stops and train stops or in the mall and ask complete strangers to take a survey, one that they didn't want to take. Approach people who don't want to be bothered, I thought. That sounds pretty freaking scary. So the very next day, I was standing outside the busiest bus stop in my neighborhood with a 16-year-old boy who wanted a Lamborghini Countach, and he was there to show me the ropes. We spent the entire day walking up to complete strangers who pushed us, yelled at us, one even spit at us, or at best simply pretended we didn't exist. I even had one woman shout at me to get a respectable job. "Go mow lawns or something," she said. Trust me, I considered it. I wanted to quit more times in those 6 hours than I have the rest of my life combined. When the shift was done, I had 56 completed surveys. At $2 a piece, that was $112 in a single day, more than I made in a month sweating and mowing lawns and gathering nails at construction sites. I could practically smell the leather of my Ferrari as we walked into the trade school to exchange our surveys for cold, hard cash. Unfortunately, when the boss was done counting the bills, he handed all $112 to the Lamborghini Countach lover. Seeing the shock and fury on my face, he explained, "Sorry, kid, you're training today. You've got a few more days until you get to keep the cash." So when I got home, I slammed the front door as I walked into my house that afternoon, and once again, Coach was sitting at the kitchen table. I told him what had happened, that I had found something scary, and then they took all my money, and that his idea was a bunch of hooey. It was in the middle of this adolescent tantrum that Coach taught me money-making rule number 2. He said, "Training is always worth the price." Sure, he said, you don't have any dollar bills to show for it, but you got something much more valuable. You learned a skill, an important one at that. The things you learned at that bus stop today, you will use over and over again. And if you continue to apply them, you will make yourself millions. Sure enough, facing rejection, overcoming objections, making a sale to a moving target, people skills, perseverance, everything I learned that first uncompensated day, I have used over and over to amass quite a fortune. Finally, when I was 15 years old, a year ahead of schedule, by the way, and many surveys later, as well as several other scary entrepreneurial ventures, I had enough money to buy my very own red beauty. It was a Mazda RX-7, cherry red. While not a Ferrari, it sure felt like one to me. Remember those two money-making rules. Number 1, scary work always pays the best. By scary, that usually means dealing with rejection or disappointment and the risk of failure. It is scary, all right, but it is much more profitable. And number 2, training, mentorship, and personal development is always worth the price, as they are the seeds that reap a perpetual harvest for the rest of your life. What are some money-making rules that you've learned throughout your life? Share those with us in the comments below. I can't wait to read them.